members of my shul, this woman, Ellen Schwartz. The first time I really got to know Jeff and Ellen Schwartz was when they called me to the hospital. They were with their son, 21 years old, Jacob. And they begin to tell me this story when I'm sitting at his bedside. And they tell me the story of how 22 years ago, Ellen says, Jeff and I, we were dating, and he took me on this date to like this wheelchair hockey place where you push children who are in wheelchairs, you push them around, I guess on the ice, and they have sticks, and you volunteer to do this. So he took her on a date for that. And afterwards she said, thank you, I know it was all well-meaning and everything, but this is not for me. Children, handicapped, some people have strength, but it's not a strength of mine. And please, let's not do that kind of date again. It's not for me. I can't handle. I can't even one night. I can't even imagine what it's like, to live a life with a kid who's handicapped like that. And they get married, and they have their first child, Jacob. And Jacob is born with Canavan's disease, a very, very rare disease. Kids don't normally live past 5 years old. He ends up being blind, mute, paralyzed, and lives 21 years. And during those 21 years, they did so many incredible things. They created this organization called Jacob's Ladder. Heard of it? There's so much research on Canavans that wasn't there before, support groups, Project Give Back, so many amazing things. I mean, they literally reached millions of people around the world, all through this incredible work that was inspired by Jacob. And so they called me to the hospital because this was his final hours, to say vidui and to say the final tefillos with him. And I'll never forget, she said to me, 22 years ago, if you asked me after that date, I said, I would never want to have a child like this. I wouldn't, I don't know if I could handle that kind of thing, And then she said, now, I can tell you, I can't even imagine what life would be like without him. And I wouldn't do anything differently. What she was saying was, not that I wanted, but I needed him. I needed him, the world needed him. I think that when it comes to whether it's situations that come to us in life or people in our lives, that we don't initially kind of want to feel like we want to invite that. I'd like to have that in my life. We have sort of a resistance to it. Ask yourself, did I ask for this, or did this come to me? If it indeed came to me, it wasn't something I asked for. What I'm left with is, how am I going to interpret this thing that seems like a dream? How am I going to interpret this? How am I going to see this? How do I want to see it? What goodness can I make out of this? That's, I think, what's indeed in our hands. And this is one of the things that I take away from Yosef. How is it that Yosef had such a perspective on the brothers? And I think it's because he looked at everything and everyone that had happened as, this is from Hashem. What's the lesson? What's the blessing? What can we do here? How can we use this for something greater? And that's indeed how he sees everybody, even at the end of the story.